I look in the distance and it's this man in all black. He's in all black. And he turns and it looked like he had the white collar and he kept on walking. So when Puff gets directly to the dude, he gets down on his knees. When he gets down on his knees, this man takes something and it seemed like it had smoke in it and he started doing it around Puff.
So, are y'all ready for a twist so wild it'll blow your mind? Because what just came out is not for the faint of heart. Central Park, a strange gathering, a never-seen-before ritual. Yes, you heard that right. A ritual. Not a performance, not a photo shoot, a ritual. And it gets even more jaw-dropping.
I see Puff reach into this case. And when he reached into this case, he came out and you could see something white in his hand. I didn't know it was a bird. I didn't know what it was at first. But he threw it up in the air. And when he threw it in the air, it came straight back down like it was a brick and said, bow on the concrete.
This all went down just hours before a court trial that sent Shine straight to prison while Diddy, he walked free. But here's the kicker. I was defending him, and then out of nowhere, he flipped the script, called witnesses to testify against me. Can you imagine? But hold on, that's not even the full story, because now Erykah Badú is stepping forward, and baby, she's not just talking, she's unveiling, she's exposing, she's pulling back the curtain on something deeper. She calls it a beautiful instrument tuned to a low frequency, something that stirs the lower chakra. And let's be real, when the music industry starts getting mystical, Miss Badu doesn't just observe, she leads. She's the high priestess of the scene, and from what it looks like, she's seen it all. Now, the moment Diddy dropped that public apology video, most people were busy nitpicking the vibe, the overly polished tone, the weird lighting, the carefully timed release. It just reeked of strategy.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life, but sometimes you gotta do that. I was I hit rock bottom.
But baby, what shook folks even more than Diddy's performance was who showed up in the comments to defend him. Scroll down and boom, right there, one name no one expected, Erykah Badú. Yes, that Erykah. The queen of cryptic captions, the oracle of silence, the one who rarely speaks unless it's through song or spells. And her comment, way too soft, too forgiving, way too public. Fans were gagged. Even her day ones were side-eyeing like, girl, what are you doing? Some tried to justify it. Maybe she's just trying to keep the peace. But others, they weren't buying it. Because when everyone else backed away from Diddy as the lawsuit started piling up, she leaned in. And that got people talking. Really talking. See, rumors had been floating for years that Erykah was closer to Diddy than she ever let on. Not romantically necessarily, but spiritually, energetically, familiar in a way that made folks whisper. And now the whispers have turned to full-blown speculation. Because if you've been following Erykah from back in the day, especially during her Andre 3000 era, you know she has this effect, an energy that changes people. And some believe Andre already felt that transformation, that her aura doesn't just shift rooms, it shifts souls. Now that her name is right back in the middle of the storm, people are digging, pulling up old receipts. And wouldn't you know, it wasn't just vibes. There's an actual photo. An old pic of Erykah and Diddy standing close. Not at a party, not backstage, but just there. An industry event, quiet moment. Now it's being viewed with a whole new lens. Because why was she there? Why wasn't anyone asking questions then? Erykah Badú doesn't show up just to show up. She moves with intention. Which is why her being anywhere near Diddy's circle raises a very specific, very loaded question. Was she just orbiting, or was she part of the inner ring? Now listen, Erykah has always been seen as a spiritual beacon in the industry. People don't call her high priestess as a joke. They mean it.
One of my favorite instruments or tools I like to use are tuning forks. This is a specially crafted, double-ended, giant tuning fork that I really love. They're delta waves on one side, beta on the other.
They say she grounds people. They say she shifts energy. But when you toss Diddy into the mix, that theory gets dark. Dark online whispers claim Erykah may have been part of something deeper, something sacred, not in the romantic sense, in the ritualistic sense, like sacred in a way that only elite circles understand. And if that's true, if you start to wonder, what did she see? What might she have witnessed? What was happening behind those velvet curtain doors? It's all unconfirmed, of course. But honey, it doesn't have to be confirmed when you've got a vibe this loud. And now, let's talk about the man who sparked all this noise. Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard. He's not just any ex-staffer. This man was in the room when things went down, and the things he said? G.E. Will. Even the skeptics are shook. Gene's most chilling memory? That infamous day before the 1999 club shooting trial. You know, the one where Shine took the fall while Diddy walked free. Gene says they stopped at Central Park. Diddy was quiet, told him to wait, then walked up to a man dressed in all black.
I look in the distance, and it's this man in all black. He's in all black. And he turns, and it looked like he had the white collar, and he kept on walking. So when Puff gets directly to the dude, he gets down on his knees. When he gets down on his knees, this man takes something, and it seemed like it had smoke in it, and he started doing it around Puff.
That man, he performed what looked like a ritual. There was smoke, strange movements, silence, and then Diddy pulls a white bird, a dove out of a case, tosses it in the air, and it drops dead right onto the pavement like a brick, instantly.
I see Puff reach into this case, and when he reached into this case, he came out, and you could see something white in his hand. I didn't know it was a bird. I didn't know what it was at first, but he threw it up in the air, and when he threw it in the air, the came straight back down like it was a brick and said, "Bow," on the concrete.
To Gene, this wasn't just some freaky accident. This was intentional. This was spiritual, possibly sacrificial. And guess what happened next? Diddy climbed back into the car and rolled straight to court. Hours later, Shine was sentenced, and Diddy walked away free. That story haunted people for years, not because it confirmed anything legally, but because it showed something way worse. A belief system, a ritualistic mindset, a pattern. Now, was Erykah at that ritual? No. She wasn't even mentioned in that chapter. But now that people are looking, her name keeps coming up. Again, not as a participant, not even as a witness, but as someone who's been linked to this kind of mysticism for decades. And when people talk about rituals, facts and vibes get blurred. You don't need hard proof. All you need is that feeling. And Erykah, she gives off that feeling in waves. Gene Deal didn't stop there. After Kim Porter's tragic death, he claims Diddy hosted a 3-day ritual, not a memorial, a moon ritual, something that lined up with the winter solstice, something about power. And allegedly, it got weird. He said there were idols, pagan energy, and on the final night, ritualistic acts involving men. And let's just say it wasn't
him and Kim Porter's birthday was on the same day. And people was thinking that because of Puff gave his birthday party on her birthday. But it was bigger than that, and people don't understand that.
To the public, that event looked like a memorial for Kim Porter, a beautiful, solemn tribute. But to Gene and those who believe him, it was a ritual, an offering. Now, here's where it gets creepy. That memorial, it happened weeks after Kim died suddenly of pneumonia at just 47. And then add Erykah Badu's name to the mix, oh, people started connecting dots, fair or not. Because even before Diddy's name got linked to ritual talk, folks were already calling Erykah witchy, spiritual, different. And her music, it didn't just sound spiritual, it felt like a spell. Her interviews, always enigmatic. Her energy, unmistakable. She never asked for the witch label, but she never denied it either. And once you're given that title in Hollywood, people start watching you differently. So the stories, oh, they stack. One on top of another like dominoes, waiting to fall. Glasses Malone, he openly admitted he was hypnotized by Erykah's beauty, like fully enchanted. The man was ready to shoot his shot at an award show, but guess who stopped him? Birdman. And it wasn't about jealousy. No. Birdman looked him dead in the eye and said, "She's a witch." Just like that. Straight-faced. No laughs, no sarcasm. And Malone, he backed off immediately. Didn't even question it. And then it gets juicier. Cameron said what everyone else was thinking. After Erykah, men start dressing like monks, wearing turbans, going off into the woods to find their souls. Just look at the list. Common, Andre 3000, Jay Electronica. Coincidence? Please. These weren't just breakups, these were spiritual rebirths. Like they went in one way and came out completely altered. And what did Erykah do? She leaned in, she owned it. Sis launched incense that smelled like her essence. Not a perfume, not a scent, a vibe. It sold out instantly. People were out here buying Badu's energy like it was a gateway to another dimension. Then she built a full-blown spiritual music studio, the Badudio. Complete with haunted pianos, saunas, tuning forks, and sound beds designed to mess with your frequencies. Oh, and don't forget the grill in her mouth, made from tuning forks. She literally said, "It controls the environment." This wasn't about aesthetics. This was alchemy. This was someone tapping into the unseen. And she wasn't being shy about it. In fact, during a 2023 interview on Tamron Hall, she said something that made the audience gasp and giggle. But listen closely. "My magic doesn't lie between my thighs. It lies between my ears." Mic drop. That wasn't just a clapback. That was a declaration. Erykah was letting the world know her power isn't just sensual, it's spiritual. It's mental, it's real. So when all these rumors about Diddy's alleged dark rituals began surfacing, people started going, wait, what about Erykah? Because even if she wasn't involved, she was always floating near the epicenter, always in the orbit of something otherworldly. And when a public figure with that much spiritual lore around them doesn't speak up or push back, the myth only grows. It wasn't long before Jaguar Wright, you know, the queen of calling out Hollywood secrets, stepped in and lit the match. Jaguar went all in on Erykah, claimed that Badu kept placentas from births she assisted, allegedly including one from Summer Walker, yes, placentas. For what? Jaguar didn't say exactly, but the implications? Disturbing. She also accused Erykah of chanting around graves, ritualistic grave chanting. And wait, it gets darker. Jaguar even suggested that Erykah Badú was responsible for Daniel Jones's death, calling it a sacrifice. No arrest, no evidence. But once that kind of accusation hits the public, it sticks. Fair or not, the whispers become screams, the questions become obsessions. And through all of this, Erykah remained mostly silent. Not a denial, not a rebuttal, just vibe. And in a world full of noise, silence sometimes screams the loudest. Then people remembered Andre 3000. He's never once spoken publicly about Diddy, but his fans, they haven't forgotten how drastically his life changed after his breakup with Erykah. The man disappeared into a spiritual fog, walking streets with a flute, battling anxiety, meditating in parks. Some say he wasn't just brokenhearted, he was mystically awakened, that he touched something through her and it shook him to his core. Of course, all of that speculation, but this is Hollywood, speculation is currency. So what do we really know? We know this: Erykah publicly supported Diddy when most people wouldn't even whisper his name. She left a comment that set the internet on fire, and she's always been linked to energy, spirit, and something way bigger than music. So now people are left wondering, is Erykah Badú Diddy's secret priestess, the keeper of the unseen, or is she just a misunderstood healer who got a little too close to something dangerous and said too little too late? Maybe she's both. Maybe she's something else entirely. But here's what you can't ignore: the timing, the mystery, the aura. It all lines up like constellations you didn't realize were connected until someone points up and says, look. Sometimes it's not about what people say, it's about what they don't. And in this case, Erykah Badú's silence might be the loudest sound of all. Anyway, that's it for this wild ride, y'all. Until the next revelation drops, stay woke, stay curious, and never underestimate the power of a woman who knows too much and says too little. Bye.